Yo, another episode of Bringing the Business. We in season 2 right now. Man, we got a lot of stuff in store for you. Season 2. It's your boy BC.
Hey, this Nick right here.
Chip.
You got Chip in the house with us today. Hey, so first of all, we like to start off letting you know where you can come check us out at. We on Facebook, we on YouTube, we on TikTok, we on Instagram. And Nick, let them know, man, we didn't get into streaming business with Spotify and all the other.
Oh yeah, we got Spotify. We got Twitch. I just haven't fucked around with it yet, you know what I'm saying? But we do got Twitch. Mostly for they say mostly that's for the gamers and stuff, but I've been on there, got a lot of sports stuff on there too, so I just gotta fuck around with it some more. But we definitely on Twitch. Like you said, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. We just started the Spotify. So we just trying to expand right now. We're trying to expand.
Yeah. So, man, just looking back, me and Chip always talk about, for people who don't know who Chip is, me and Chip did a show, about 5-6 years ago?
Mm-hmm.
Crunch Time. About 5-6 years ago, we started off with Crunch Time. And then we end up switching it over to Windy City Clutch. So
shout out Shannon, shout out Levi, shout out B. Williams.
Yeah, so they was with us. Like I said, we did it about 5-6 years ago. So we ain't no rookies to this thing, man. Hey, so we got some topics today that we want to discuss, man. We hear the phrase thrown around a lot lately. Bigger, faster, stronger.
Right.
When they talking about the athletes of today, right? In particular, you talking about the athletes of today. We're talking about basketball, football, track, everything, right? They throw out the bigger, faster, stronger, right? So we're gonna discuss that, and we're gonna see is the game bigger? Is the players bigger, faster, stronger? Is the game better today? And when we say the game, we talking about sports as a whole. And I know that, we've been discussing this a lot on the Bringing the Business page. Obviously, the room is divided. Well, not this room right here, but the page is divided with the young cats who say the sports are better today. And then, they call us to get off my lawn, old cats, man. So, you know what I'm saying? So we're here to discuss that. Nick, what you think, man?
I mean, I think technology and the science of it, I think they recover faster. Now, as far as, them being better players, based off the research that we did, I think the players back in the day were just cut from a different cloth. We was tougher. You know what I'm saying? We would, this game right now, even though the injuries back then was career-ending injuries. Like the ACL.
So are you talking basketball, football, or just sports across the board?
I think sports across the board. Just with the medicine and the way they do the surgery stuff now, the stuff that was career-ending back then is not now. But I feel like the athletes back in the day were tougher than these athletes now.
But you get a lot of people that say a lot of them that was under the Iron Man Act or different stuff like that were dumb. For being that way. Well, man, they made y'all play this many games. They made y'all do this, that, and the other. So you hear that a lot. You know what I'm saying? What you think, Chip? We're going to get into the actual numbers and the examples that we have, but just an overview, what you think about the bigger, faster, stronger article.
Well, I've been researching the topic bigger, faster, stronger, and better probably for the last 6 months. And over the last 6 months, the conclusion that I come up with is that it's just not true. I've been up in the middle of the night studying this stuff. And it's not one statistical category. It's not one physical category. It's not one, it's not any category where a person can come up with. A person tried to come up with even running. The fact that more people are running 4-minute miles compared to when in the 1940s when the record was broken. So when they when they came up with the comparison, the fact that it was back then it wasn't any social media, it wasn't any other record. I mean, people that was keeping track of what people were doing. So you're living in a time now where more people are able to keep up with things, and people are recording and video recording things, so you're getting more results.
Right.
So they did a swimming test. No, they did a cycling test. The cycling test, the cyclists probably finished 3 minutes faster than what they did 50 years ago, and it's because the bicycles were different. You see what I'm saying? They did track and field tests. They studied track and field tests, and the track and field people, you look at it, who's the fastest person now? And we will say Usain Bolt. Is he faster than Carl Lewis? Is he crushing Carl Lewis times? No. So I really feel like the Ironman times of the 80s and 90s when we were born are what battle tested, scar tested, mentally toughness tested, and just the fact that these people are going on television and that they're saying these things is just not accurate. We did a study. We looked up the tallest basketball players back then. The height and size of basketball players have not changed in 40 years. The average height of a basketball player is 6'6". So when we did the studies, we looked it up. Basketball players, point guards are bigger. Point guards are
So
faster.
wait, hold on. When we go back to the basketball players though, so was it a myth that people were saying that Wilt was playing with guys that was way smaller than him at 7 foot? He was 7 feet. It wasn't a lot of other big.
We didn't take the study.
feet
We
and guys like that.
didn't take the study back 50 and 60 years. We took it back 40. So a myth that I call it a myth still. The only thing that I can say would change the game from when Wilt and them were playing compared to now was the amount of teams. So back then it was probably approximately 18 teams. Right now it's 32 NBA teams.
I don't even think it was 18 back when Wilt and them was playing. Was it?
Might have been
No, it was
between
like
12 and 18.
Yeah, I don't think it was that many, but
It was more than 12.
see, I look at it. I'm not gonna sit here and tell you that the athletes from the 40s, 50s, and stuff like that were equivalent to some of these guys. I'm speaking of 80s, 90s. You know what I'm saying? Some of the 70s, 80s, and 90s. These athletes were equivalent to the athletes that you had today. You know what I'm saying? I tell people all the time. Wilt Chamberlain, right? And we all know the gaudy ass numbers that Wilt Chamberlain put up and the crazy numbers he put up. But I tell people, if Wilt played in the 90s, Wilt would be David Robinson. David was athletic, strong, fast, skilled, you know what I'm saying, soft touch around the basket, all that. And I think that's what Wilt would have been. And if you put David back in the 60s and the, you know what I'm saying, the 60s when Wilt played, David would have put up them crazy numbers. You know what I'm saying? So I think Wilt Chamberlain and David Robinson was equivalent. Same thing with Jim Brown. I think if you put Jerome Bettis or what's the other guy used to play running back? I think he played for the Cowboys and he played for us for a minute.
A running back?
Yeah, he played for us for a minute. He played for the Bears.
Marion Barber?
Marion Barber.
Yeah.
If you put Marion Barber back there in when Jim Brown played in the 60s, you're going to get the same type of results that you get from Jim Brown.
Well, you didn't have Hall of Fame numbers from Marion Barber.
But I'm saying if you put him where Jim Brown was ahead of his time, in my opinion.
Running backs have always is a traditional position in sport, meaning in football. So when you bring in running backs, I think running back greatness, if you're a great running back, you're just a great running back. So I would like to keep the playing field on great running backs. So if you asking me would Jim Brown be great today as compared to back then, yeah.
But he's not gonna do that
And
ridiculous, crazy stuff that he did. Is what I'm saying. Like, you know what I'm saying? Where where people was just bouncing off of him and stuff like that. That's not gonna happen today.
Why not? And then you got to think about this too. Jim Brown, I think didn't Jim Brown run for 2,000 yards?
Mm-hmm.
He did it in 14 games.
People would not bounce off Jim Brown today like they did in them 60s, bro.
Why not?
because guys are in that regard. Think about this. Now the defensive tackles and stuff like that are bigger. They are faster, probably, or whatever like that. Nobody's gonna bounce off them guys like that, man.
I'm not sure, but I'll tell you this part. We didn't study the football players, and we're gonna do that next.
We studied more than basketball.
We kept it strictly basketball. We studied the numbers. We didn't study the sizes on them.
Okay.
So next is what we're gonna do. Now, okay. So tell me this: they bounced off Marshawn Lynch. So if they bounced off Marshawn Lynch, you telling me Marshawn Lynch was a better?
But Marshawn Lynch didn't put up like that stuff Jim Brown did, though.
Yes, he did.
He did not. Marshawn Lynch
put up 12 to 1,400 yards a season. Yes, he did. Between Buffalo, between Seattle. Look up Marshawn Lynch.
So if you're looking at Jim, he had close to 2,000, and that was in 63.
Yeah, 1,800. But he was playing 14 games. Then they was playing 12 games too. So think about this. Look at his numbers based off 12 games compared to 16 games. So then remember this. I told you this too. Stats was going to be messed up because they moved this to 17 games. Look at Jim Brown numbers. He played 12 games for 4 seasons. Then you got to remember this too. He retired after 8 years, right?
Yep.
9 years.
No, it's 8.
Have y'all sat back and watched? Have y'all sat back and watched Jim Brown highlights?
Yeah, they were bouncing off him. Just like
Nobody's bouncing off.
Did they bounce off Marshawn Lynch?
They're not bouncing off Marshawn Lynch like they bounced off.
Do me a favor.
Off him.
Look up Jim Brown's size, and then look up Marshawn Lynch's size.
What was Jim Brown about? 6'3"?
6'2". Go back. It was right there.
Oh,
yeah. Look at that. 6 right there. 6'2", 232. He was big. Because Ricky Williams was 5'10". You ain't know that, did you?
Yeah.
All right. So Jim Brown 6'2".
That's why I said like a Marion Barber.
Yeah.
Marion Barber got to be around.
Eddie George type shit.
Right.
Yeah.
But again, even though like Eddie George and them, like,
Earl
even
Campbell.
like Derrick Henry,
And then
all those guys.
Jim might have been the best. Go back. Go back to that. Look at Jim Brown numbers. Pull up where he's ranked at on the all-time rushing list. I need to see where he ranks. Because you got to remember this. He played 9 years. He got 12,000 yards. I think the highest is 16, 18. He retired after 9 years.
No, I think the highest is Emmett. What Emmett at?
Emmett. Yeah, it's Emmett.
18, right?
Yep.
Jim Brown would have beat him. So look at how
Jim
many
Brown
years.
rushed for how many?
And then he playing 4 games less. 12 games. He played 5 years playing 4 games.
Yes, but what I'm telling you is, I think Jim Brown was ahead of his time. Is what I'm saying. I think if you put, I ain't think about Marshawn Lynch. If you put Marshawn Lynch, if you put Eddie George, if you put them guys back there, they're gonna do the same thing that Jim Brown did.
Has the game of football changed outside of them disciplined players for touchdown celebrations? They're disciplining players, but has the overall, they've tried to keep people from going at the helmet and things like that, but has those rule changes really impacted the game, say like with basketball?
Yes, the rule change. I'm gonna tell you
tackling.
why. Yes, and that's a big difference.
Okay, let me tell you this.
Think about this.
One of the worst tackling seasons I ever seen in my life, and one of the worst tacklers games I've ever seen in my life was the Bears trying to tackle Barry Sanders, and this was back in like '93. And this, I started middle linebacker was Barry Minner. So I've never seen bad tackling compared to back then than what I do now. So tackling, you can't say that players ain't tackling now. It's obvious and it's what I seen back then. So I can't say that I'm seeing players not tackle players based off the rule changes that's going on.
No. When I say tackling, this is what I mean. Like the quarterback position in particular, right?
Can't go after them.
Right, you can't go after them. I heard Joe Montana say, look at what I did knowing that these guys were trying to tear my head off. So imagine if I know that they can't touch me back here for real.
They can touch him though.
Not for real. I mean, they can't headhunt him. They can't hit him in his legs. They can't, you know what I'm saying? They can't do the things that quarterbacks fear happening to them back then. So now I can sit in this pocket.
Do it still happen? Like, just think about this. They would have to take away the whole sack, just period. You can't hit a quarterback. They try to protect the quarterbacks, but
that protection matters in your psyche.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, of course they can't take it away completely, but do it affect the way a defensive player tackle the quarterback? Absolutely.
And so that affects the way that the quarterback is thinking.
You got some defensive players that have tore their ACL trying to
hold up
on tackling the quarterback.
That's happened.
Yeah, because they got to pull up because I'm finna headhunt them or I'm finna, you know what I'm saying? So they pull up.
Yeah.
And
so,
like you say, hamstrings, anything, trying to pull up at that speed because you don't want to get ejected or fined in this game.
More than likely fined. They're not trying to get that money taken away from them. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, for a quarterback, absolutely you thinking about that.
I'm going to tell you this. After I just looked at that list, what I looked at, Jim Brown go higher on my ranking of NFL running backs just simply because of the fact he was playing. He probably 5 years at 12 games, 4 years at 12 games instead of 16.
Mm-hmm.
That's 4-8.
He played 4 years at 12.
That's almost 20 games, a difference right there. And then another 5 years at 14 games. He would have beat. He would have been top two or top three.
I can agree with that. He played less games and still put up numbers.
That's why I say he was exceptional.
Yeah.
But I think he was ahead of his time. I don't think the competition was what he was.
What's going on?
But
so
think about it like
back
this.
then.
Hold on, right quick, my bad. Think about this though. If you saying that, then you also saying the offensive line probably wasn't as good as it was like it is now.
And
that's true. I'm saying why
are you saying that?
I mean, because I can't present the argument. I agree. I can't present the argument that I'm presenting if I'm saying just the defensive side of the ball wasn't that good.
That's what I'm saying. So maybe the offensive line wasn't that good either.
But,
so now if you put them in
why are you saying that? So because I can tell you this, the quarterback numbers aren't what they are today, but the running back numbers are. So there's no quarterback like the best quarterbacks you look back then was Johnny Unitas, Roger Staubach, them type of guys.
Right.
They don't rank high on the statistical list, right? But once you got to the 80s, and then you see the Dan Marinos, the John Elways, the Joe Montanas, and those guys, they still hold them records, right? But the guys from the 70s and 60s who was playing quarterbacks, you don't see them on those lists that we've been looking up and studying. The running backs are there though.
Let me give you an example of what I'm saying. Like when I talk about Jim Brown, about guys bouncing off him and all that, right? Today, Aaron Donald is amazing on the defensive side of the football, right?
I've seen him before.
Right. Okay, but look, even when Aaron Donald makes a hell of a defensive play, just the way that the play looks is not the same as the way Mean Joe Green them was just ragdolling motherfuckers, man. Like, ain't nobody just getting ragdolled and just thrown around like they don't belong out here with these grown men, G. Like,
you sure?
I'm thinking of some of them guys, Dick Night Train Lane, them was just like flattening motherfuckers. You know what I'm saying? Like, people not getting drugged and ragged out and all that shit like they was doing back then, bro. And those, it was a handful of them type of guys. You gotta think, the game was at its beginning point. So, yes, it was. I'm saying like in them 50s and 60s and stuff like that, the game was
started in the 20s.
Yes, but it was at it. But think about it. A lot of them guys in them 20s and 30s was working a regular job and then coming outside to play football.
And that's what they saying.
You know what I'm saying?
Think about what you're saying.
So by the 50s and 60s, they were taking this as a real profession. So at this point, though, you still only had a handful of guys that was really that dominant.
What you're saying,
up the par.
what you're saying is the same thing that because they played basketball, that's what they're saying. And it's because you play football, you saying some of the same thing that these people that we're going back and forth about this basketball.
No, I'm speaking of the 50s and 60s. I feel the same way in basketball in the 50s and 60s.
That they were plumbers?
Bob Cousy dribbling with one hand, bro, ain't no nothing, bro.
You're right. But let me show you.
Because even think about this, Chip.
Okay, just look at this. Just look at this stat right here. Most assists in a single game.
Okay.
Scott Styles is number 1.
Right?
30.
We're going to talk about this.
Kevin Porter Sr. number 2, 29. John Stockton number 3, 28. Guy Rogers and Bob Cousy, all
Correct.
28. What's the newest player that you're gonna see touch that number is Russell Westbrook, right? And we probably got Steve Nash. There's no other guys that you're gonna be able to pull up that's gonna come to the numbers that them guys is coming to. And Steve Nash probably is gonna be there. Jason Kidd, Chris Paul, why he not there?
Chris Paul, number 3.
On here?
No, I'm saying all time.
I know, but we're just talking about single games. So Chris Paul do got a lot of assists, right? We get that. But some of these records that still held to this day are held by the old time players.
We don't disagree on that. But if you go back and look at these records that's even being held, they're held by guys from the 80s, 90s, you know what I'm saying, whatever like that. They're not held. That right there is an exception to the rule with Bob Cousy on there. But most of these records are not held by guys in the besides a Wilt Chamberlain who just put up gaudy numbers every night.
Rick Barry. Rick Barry on the leading scoring list. Look, Rick Barry was a dog. So they got Rick. When you go look up Rick Barry on that all-time scoring.
I mean,
list.
you know how I feel. I feel like it's even though we having this conversation, I feel like it's unfair.
Yeah,
because
I have been feeling like that
because
too.
it's different eras of the game.
But that's ain't why I feel different.
Why you feel different?
So I feel different based off this. The money has impacted the game too much. So the money has impacted the game in these ways. Where people are put the money before everything involved of professional sports. From gambling to feeding their families to lifestyles. Once the money became the number one factor and people started realizing how much money that they were making. Say, for instance, I pulled this stat up earlier. 1989, Jordan was in his prime, right? How much did he make that year? $2.5 million. What's the NBA veteran minimum right now?
Like 5 or 6, but inflation is going to affect that as well.
Okay, we could say that to try to sound, I get that, right? Okay, inflation, right? But it's a big difference. Stacey King was number 2. Guess how much he was making? 1.3. Bill Cartwright, 1.3. Scottie Pippen, $750,000. Okay? So when people say inflation, I get that, right? Let me say this though. An appraisal in 2002 cost $450. An appraisal right now in 2022 costs $450. Inflation does not impact everything.
But you got to look at like
the
how much. But you got to look at how
the
much the
TV
game.
revenue.
Right, you got to look at how much the game is.
How much
up.
the game has become global. I understand that. Today, LeBron James signed for $97 million for 2 years. Right, he the best player. 1989, Michael Jordan was the best player. So right now, LeBron James is going for $45 million a year. Michael Jordan was getting $2 million, bro. Okay?
That's crazy.
It's highway robbery.
That's crazy.
And we could almost compare it to, again, I like to compare rap music and things like that. It's almost like saying, are these rappers today better than the music we grew up on? Because I don't think so. Right?
They ain't talking about shit.
So, but they're making more money.
See, let me go into what we looking to talk about, right?
Okay.
Coming from not the money aspect, but just let's talk about game, right? So here I'm gonna bring up a couple scenarios, and when I'm talking about today's game, it's supposed to be the players are supposed to be bigger, faster, stronger, right? Now I will throw this disclaimer out there. I know that some of these stats are longevity stats, right? But what I'm projecting is that I don't even see the players of today's game.
Don't even do that.
They're not really projected to make this.
Don't even do that, right? Because what I'm saying, don't do it. Don't do no disservice to yourself because they're gonna counter with LeBron James.
Yeah, you got a handful of some.
They're gonna because LeBron James. So when you're saying longevity, you're going to compare him to Jerry Rice and things like that and say how long Jerry played and stuff like that. Them records shouldn't be broke.
Can one of y'all look up Patrick Mahomes wins? Because I think somebody like him is the only one who catch it.
Yeah.
Okay. Most quarterback wins, right? Most quarterback wins. I'm going to run off the list. You got Tom Brady at 243. Brett Favre, 188. Peyton Manning, 187. Drew Brees, 172. Big Ben, 166. Elway, 149. Carl Morales, somebody played for the Lions. He 149. Dan Marino, 147. Aaron Rodgers, 142. And Phillip Rivers, 137. So none of these younger quarterbacks, I don't think they're going to catch none. Especially not going to catch Brady.
I don't. Look up where Russell Wilson is at. I think Patrick Mahomes might have 35 or 38, between 35 and 38 wins. All you got to do is go to games played and look at their records. So he's been in the league 3 years.
So I don't think a lot of these guys are gonna catch it.
Right. So how long he's been there? 1, 2, 3, 4. Probably averaging 12 wins a season. That ain't bad. He gonna get up there.
Yeah.
So how many wins he get? You see it? I think they go. He win in 12. Him and Russell Wilson is the only quarterbacks that I see coming into that list.
So why they looking at that? That's one list that I don't think they gonna.
He played 63 games.
Game was 50, 13, and
He won 50 games.
150 games.
Damn.
He gonna catch it.
He gonna catch it.
He gonna catch it.
He gonna catch it.
He not gonna catch Brady though.
But
Brady,
he gonna
Brady
get
at 243. Now Phillip Rivers at 137. He gonna get in there.
Yeah. He gonna get in there.
He gonna get in there. All right. Now while we sticking with football, look at this. Most interceptions. You got Paul Cross, Tunnel, Rod Wilson.
Rod Wilson on that first name I know.
Dick Night Train Lane.
I heard of him.
Ken Riley, Charles Wilson,
No.
Ed Reed, Ronnie Lott, Darren Sharper, and Dick LeBeau.
The only new guy is Ed Reed.
Charles Wilson.
Charles Wilson came in the league in '98. He belonged to us. He belonged to my generation. I ain't getting
Darren Sharper.
Sharper don't belong to them either.
So, but I don't think none of these new guys gonna catch this interception list.
They're not.
Right?
Nope. They're not.
Okay. So let's move on. Let's move on to the basketball. All-time rebound list. I'm gonna read off the names. Wilt Chamberlain, Bill Russell, Kareem, Elvin Hayes, who's that? Moses Malone, Tim Duncan, Karl Malone, Robert Parrish, Kevin Garnett, Dwight Howard at number 10, Nate Thurman, and Walt Bellamy.
The only player I'm giving them is Dwight Howard.
Dwight Howard. Nobody else is even like in line to catch it.
Come close to these records. Cause who playing now?
Maybe Giannis.
Damn.
Well, I agree with you, man. I agree with a lot of the reasons why these records not gonna get broken because the mindset of the athletes are different.
Mm-hmm.
They don't play.
They don't want.
They don't play,
and they don't want to chase the record.
Right. They don't want to chase. They worry about their brand. They worry
Yeah.
about their money. You know what I'm saying? They don't care about that. I mean, of course they want to win. That's why they teaming up with each other.
Yeah.
Cause it just adds to their legacy though.
But
they don't care about the records like that.
They don't want to go after these records.
Yeah,
so, but it just goes back to my point. So I did another research study. I looked up field goal percentages. It hasn't changed over the last 40 years. It hovers between 46 and 44% over the last 40 years. So if 2 points is a margin where shooting percentages have changed, because they tell us they shoot better. So that's what Javin told me earlier. I looked it up. They don't. And then for them to be, Jordan shoots, we looked this up earlier, he's the only
He got 5 seasons.
5 seasons where he
Scoring
shot
30 points a game.
where he shot
shooting
50%.
That's
Right.
exceptional.
Yeah.
So, they tell us that Steph Curry, here it is right here. They tell us seasons averaging 30 points per game on 50% shooting by a guard. Michael Jordan, 88, 89, 90, 91, 92. Steph Curry did it once in 2016. George Gervin did it once in 1980. So here again, you got a stat where 2 players, older players, there's only 1 younger player, and then he's shooting longer shots, right? So they tell you Steph Curry could shoot better than Jordan. Would you agree?
He shoot. You have to say yeah because it's
I'm
more.
gonna say yeah.
It's
I'm saying
emphasis.
yes.
Okay, right. So he does, right? Who is Jordan not a top 5 mid-range shooter?
Of
Ever,
course.
all time.
Of course.
He probably the best. Him, Kobe, Durant, DeRozan goes up there. George Gervin, Carmelo goes up there. It's a list that we need to just get together and just say who's the best mid-range shooters. But Jordan is shooting at a 50% clip every night, right?
You left a name out.
Who?
We talk about best mid-range shooters.
Oh,
Kobe.
I said Kobe.
Rip.
Rip Hamilton. Okay, I give him that. But he's not
Yeah.
gonna come up on these lists though. They were those guys.
I mean, only because
I'm
But
gonna give you that.
DeMar
legend,
DeRozan not gonna come up on these lists.
Yes, he is.
I mean,
He gonna come up with
if-
like he came up the other day. I saw a list like
With him
was
on.
mid-range
Yeah.
shots
But if
made.
you gonna put them out there, you got to put Rip there in.
I agree.
We got to think.
So what about-
That's a good comparison too. That's a good flashcard.
What about Reggie?
But yeah. So my thing is.
What about Mitch Richmond?
Right. So my thing here is when you saying this, that Steph is the greatest shooter that we've ever seen. I'm not sure that the numbers support it. Right. So Steph practices these difficulties of shots. Right. So Jordan practiced them layups around the rim and shit. Them was the way he practiced dunks. So he put more time and effort practicing those things. He put more. So to me, it's what you practice is what you become great at. That's just what I feel.
So you're just doing strictly percentages, not shooting itself.
Because I looked it up. Jordan didn't shoot well from the 3-point range.
But it wasn't an emphasis.
Right, because that wasn't his game.
Right.
If he practiced it, I think he could be just as good. Because his determination and whatever he wanted to become great at, he did it. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I get that.
So saying I'm in agreement. Like I'm torn on the fence when people are saying that Steph is the greatest shooter I've seen. Because I also say this, because I say 2 things there. Clay could shoot it just as good as Steph. And it was apparent because one year they was in the 3-point contest together. Another thing, when you watch them in the 3-point contest, you remember that one Craig Hodges was in? Do you remember that one Larry Bird was in where he didn't take off his warm-up and told them guys who coming in second?
Yeah.
That's the greatest shooting performances there.
Clay jumper. Like if you teaching your child how to shoot a jumper,
You teach Clay.
you teach them the way Clay shoot.
Yeah.
Like Clay jumper is like textbook jumper.
Textbook jumper.
You know what I'm saying? But then you got like Steph, Reggie, guys like that who wasn't so textbook. I learned from like some of the old heads. We got to stop this what we never saw before.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's some guys that did some things like
I've seen everything.
like Bob McAdoo could shoot. You know what I'm saying? Like we talk Larry, man. They say Larry telling people he gonna play this game with his left hand, and he's shooting the Jimmy with his left.
I got something else. And this is the numbers that support the thesis. I mean, just what's being said here. Okay, so I was told that, I was asked by a family member who told me that he watches basketball. And so I was like, okay, you watch basketball. So he says, take 75 overall players from today's game, compare them to 75 overall players back to 1991 and 92, and he said the players are better. And I'm like,
Today?
From
today.
today.
And I'm like, so he gave me a starting point. Just say we was doing a science project or something. So I'm like, okay, that's kind of a good question. So I thought to do it. And I was like, you know what? I'm not going to waste my time with the 75 players. I was like, just give me the 10 and 12 men on each roster. I think I can give me a better control group. So I started to do the research on it. So, and then I broke it down even further for myself. So what I did was pull up the scoring leaders from 2022. And I pulled up the scoring leaders from 1992. 26 players averaged 20 points back then, and it was like 28 players averaged it now. 30 players, it was more so per se, the point that I'm making, that it didn't change at all. It was all the same. You take the top, it's 25, 26 players each and every season, averaging 20 points a game.
But and that's why I say it's not fair to do this.
It is. So my thesis that I've come up with is that it's not any player bigger, stronger, faster, or better. You get one or two generational players every era. That's why it's not fair. That's why it's not. I mean, even though we talking about it. And this is why you don't see them move up on any record books, but one or two players. You see one or two.
But you saw an influx of these players on the record books in the 90s.
Yes, you did.
Most of these,
and in all of the sports. In baseball, you seen it.
Yeah.
In basketball, you seen it.
Them guys.
And in football, you seen it.
Them guys that you saw in the 90s and
so at that time, during the 90s, 80s, I think that the money became serious. They got more serious. They got more serious about their crafts. The competitive nature. I think because I relate all of this back to hip hop and music. I think that the 90s was the best era in music as well. So I think that time frame of what we growing up and what got produced out here into the world, that decade was just the best decade in a long time.
As far as what though?
As far as everything, man.
I'm talking about as far as sports, even
baseball. I looked up back.
If you want to talk hip hop, if you want to talk sports, what did you say?
Snoop, that our generation, I think our generation. I'll put it like this. Even so, musically, we got a chance to go back. A lot of producers and things like that, we were able to go back and take the Rick James and stuff from the 80s. You were able to take Prince, Michael Jackson. They got all of that. And then they were also got the Dusties from the Isley Brothers, freaking the Whispers, all of those other musical groups. They were able to take that stuff and create a sound in that these newer guys are even still able to use today, right?
Sure.
And basketball-wise, we talked about this. The move started with our generation. Me and him stayed on, we looked this stuff up. Remember this move? When you put it behind your back with one hand? That was our generation. That didn't come from the generation before us. That didn't come, like, all the dribbling, all of that stuff, it came from us. It was only one guy who we knew that dribbled the basketball like that. Because I won't take Zeke. I get that to my brother and them generation. Because Isaiah came out of college in like 81. That was the year I was born in 80. So I won't take Zeke. So, but the other players, you look at them, they came from our generation. Everything would come from it come from our age group. I'm 42 years old right now. So the best of the best, I feel like, was even with boxing. It comes from...
But see, look, check this out. One reason that I think, like, when you talk about rap music and when you talk about the 90s and stuff like that, one reason I think that this stuff was exceptional is because it was new. You know what I'm saying? And people was hungry and everything like that, right? So rap music was new. So it you know what I'm saying? So people were hungry. People was hungry to show their skills. People was hungry to put their coast on. You know what I'm saying? Put the South on, put the West Coast on, whatever like that. Same thing with like R&B music. That ushered in what Mary and them was the New Jack Swing era and all that stuff. So a lot of stuff was ushered in. So now you go into basketball, right? Michael Jordan made the game global. Michael Jordan, and during that time period where Kevin Garnett and them started getting money or whatever, like all of that type of stuff was new. Like you said, doing the new moves and one, all that stuff, a lot of that stuff was new, man. You know what I'm saying? And that's why people went so hard. But that's why people went so hard at it too, though, because they was trying to put stuff on the map at that time.
Okay, hold
From
on.
music to sports.
I'm about to shut it down right quick. I'm about to shut it down and just let y'all know what it is. We all come from the same era.
Right.
We all agree that 80s, 90s era pretty much was the best era.
I think so.
I'm gonna tell you why.
Okay.
It encompasses everything you all are saying. And the only thing y'all leaving out is we on the hip hop side, we had battle rap. We were trying to compete against each other.
Right. For competition.
For who's the best.
Right.
As far as when the NBA, we were competing against each other. We were better. We were getting better. Like you said, the skill level was getting better, but what made that era better is because we were in constant competition trying to one-up that person.
Are you
better.
sure?
Absolutely.
Okay, because let me ask you this.
I agree.
I'm gonna say no. Them people knew Jordan was the best player in the game.
That has something to do with it. That you're right. You're absolutely right. But
So
it didn't stop the Karl Malones, and it stopped the Sean Kemps and the
Nah, what I mean by this,
even if you take Jordan out, they still competed with each other.
Yeah, but what I mean by this, Larry Bird is on record said after he said Magic, he was like, Jordan's the greatest I've ever seen. Yeah. Magic said the same thing. But just think about this. Even when it came to rap, they didn't trap Tupac. And when Rakim had the throne, they said Rakim the best weed. You know what I'm saying?
Right. No, because you got to think about it.
They still competed though.
Yes.
They competed amongst the others. But it was at a certain point in time. Listen. It was at a certain point in time from 88 to 98, that gentleman there, everybody, even when Jordan was retired, was we saying who the best player in the game was, or we still saying it was Jordan?
That's the point, though.
Right. And Mike
is just like this. This is like this.
Because he might. That's why he knows.
But the thing is this. Regardless of this, though, hold on. So let's just say, for instance, me and you play ball, right? And I know, for all intents and purposes, you better than me. I can say you better than me. That don't mean I ain't gonna go at your ass every motherfucking time. You make me better than me.
That ain't what I'm saying. This what I'm saying.
But you saying like he the best, like everybody back down.
That didn't happen.
Nobody backed down.
The Pistons kicked his ass.
Yeah, even though he the best.
They did not no more.
But I'm saying they was going at him even though they knew
he was the best.
Even though they knew
they wasn't going at him no. Who was the only player? Listen to me. From 88 to 98, they didn't go at him. They knew their place, and that's the real
right.
In that other play,
and then look, let's take it back. And during that time too, right?
Them other niggas.
Let's take it back during that time. Like we all from the hood. You know what I'm saying? We all from the hood. And going back to what he said about competition, bro. When we went to that park, just say me and you was the best too. They wouldn't let us be on the same team. We had to do the choosing.
That's true.
Right? The two best motherfuckers had to do the choosing because they wanted it to be a competitive situation. So the two best motherfuckers did not get on the same team together.
That's true.
You know what I'm saying? And just going back to the hood again, that's what made the game competitive too. That's what made it good because we learned all of our moves outside in the alley. We learned how to juke. Like Nick, we used to play football. Nick had jukes. He learned that from being in the hood.
I got a good question. Give me your top 5 most competitive players right now in the NBA today.
Giannis.
Drew Holiday.
Think Drew?
Yeah.
Okay. Drew, I like Drew.
Just competitiveness. I'm bringing it every night. I'm coming to bust your ass.
Russ.
Okay.
Who else, y'all?
Jimmy.
Jimmy.
Okay, damn, you're
Okay,
right.
one more.
And that's sad.
It's
That's
either
sad.
it's either, to me, it's probably Dame Lillard or John Morant. So I'm
but that's sad that we got to sit here. So we skipped. Look, think about this. We skipped over a lot of the great players in the game today.
LeBron, Kyrie, Steph.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? And we just said nothing but competitive nature. I'm coming to bust your ass here tonight.
Right.
Yeah.
So mine is, you give me, I got Russ number 1. I got Jimmy Butler number 2, meaning that I know you finna have hell every night playing these players. So I got Ja Morant, he number 3. Give me Dame. I know Dame is gonna come compete every freaking night. He ain't gonna take. I don't see Dame Lillard taking no nights off. And that's my 4th. And then my 5th is
See, that's a shame.
And what's crazy is I'm gonna say somebody like Patrick Beverly.
You know, it's crazy because I was thinking about that shit too.
That's a shame.
I was thinking about that shit on the defensive end. Like, you know, he gon'
want to lose, man.
Yeah, he gon' give him his all.
That looks crazy.
But you know another thing, another reason I discredit today's. I ain't gonna say discredit, but I discredit that today's athletes are just bigger, faster, stronger. I saw a video the other day, which I watch a lot of Mike videos. I watch a video of Mike. And just all them scoop layups and all that stuff. People still can't do that today.
They can't, and that's what I'm saying. It's what you
like
practice.
That craziness that he used to do.
It's what you practice.
They can't do that today.
They can't, and it's what
30 years later
they can't do. It's what you practice. So he actually was out there practicing those shots.
So do y'all think Mike practiced that?
Yes.
He just Mike practice?
Yes.
No. Do you think Mike practices the Houdini shit?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And I tell you.
So y'all think Mike practiced the going to the lane and flipping it like this and all that?
Yeah.
I mean, I think he practiced it, but I think a lot of this shit was like
instinct.
Yeah, it was instinct. You know
That's
what I'm saying?
He said that because he said when he did this one,
that was weak. I'm gonna go on record.
Slow
saying,
motion make it better.
I'm gonna go on record saying that Mike switching the hand shit was weak.
No.
Why would you say that?
People go crazy over that shit, right? People go crazy over that. People go crazy over that shit. First of all, he could have just poked it. If you go back and look at it, he saw Sam Perkins. He said, I saw big long arm Sam. Go back and watch it for yourself. First of all, when he went up, he could have just poked it, right? Because Sam Perkins didn't even really jump the way that Mike's saying that he jumped. Second of all, he brought it back down and scooped it. Bro, I done seen 15, 20 Mike scoop moves way better than that. I done seen 15, 20 Mike scoop moves bigger than, but when they want to play a Gatorade commercial, and I get it, it was in the finals. I get it. It was in the finals. It was his first finals. He won and everything like that. That move was weak.
There you go.
Nobody jumped. Nobody jumped. That shit was weak.
I need to see it one more time.
But the second time they show it to you, it's going to be in slow mo. Right. And so that's why you're going to think it was so cold.
Yeah, I'm crazy.
I always said that. That move was weak.
I got to see. But it's an instant game, man. Hold on. Yeah, wasn't nobody there.
Wasn't nobody there.
Somebody put a hand up.
Who? He said when he talked about
that was green.
When he talked about he said I saw big Sam Perkins.
Oh, we was up 30 points that game too.
That move was weak.
We was up 30. We was up 30, Papa. Don't tell nobody else that could.
I always felt that.
It's too late now. That shit gonna be all over the place.
I always felt that shit.
Gonna be all over
that
the place.
That move was weak. I done seen Mike do some cold shit.
Yeah.
Do some cold shit. That move was not one of them.
Hey, that's what he known for. One of the moves that he known for. But I think you're right. That was the magnitude of the finals. But like you said, they was up 30 points. But I guess just the fact that
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I didn't know that either.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
But shit, like it was the magnitude of the game, and I guess it just looked cool because of
you know a move that was like cold as hell to me. Not Mike, but Dr. J going under the backboard.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, hell yeah.
Like that shit was like amazing to me.
Yeah.
Though. Like even today when I watched that. Now I done seen like
And
Bron done did it.
you know what?
He done did it. Kobe done kind of did. But that Dr. J shit just looked different.
Oh, yeah.
Going
You know
up
which one too? Larry Bird hit a behind the back
Yeah.
shot
Yeah. Falling. Yeah.
from out of bounds.
Yeah.
That was something that's you know how great a person is. We should talk about this too. Another thing with this bigger, faster, stronger thing, I really did my homework on it. I hate to say it, but you got to touch on it. It's a racial discussion because back then, 30% of the players in the NBA were white. Right now, it's 5%. Meaning, when you're saying
but what about the foreign whites?
Listen to me. Back then, 30%.
Right, I get what you're
Well,
saying,
white.
but I'm saying in
Right
your 5% now, out of Bogdanoviches and all that counted in that.
Yeah. So, but
No, it got to be more than that.
no, it's 5% white, right? And so, and then when you say foreigners, you got to think about this. Greek freak is a foreigner.
No, I'm saying I know. That's why I say no, but that's why I say the Bogdanoviches and all them types.
So
the ones who white and skin.
That's
color,
what Europeans are.
Right, European.
So,
well, I mean, you can't really say
whites
European
are Europeans.
because Greek.
Whites are Europeans.
Right.
So, but listen, it's a racial discussion because it's been scientifically proven blacks are faster. A lot of black people are bigger, and a lot of we perform better at athletics, right? So this is how crazy people are and how crazy people work. When they're saying this, they're making a racial statement and they don't even realize that they're making it, right? But the average height hasn't changed. None of these other things have changed. Race has changed. Meaning, when they calling these people plumbers and stuff, they talking about the white guys, man. They not even realizing what they saying, right?
Right.
So when they talking about the Bob Cousy's of the world, you notice they not talking about the Bill Russells, the Wilt Chamberlains. They saying Bob Cousy, Pettit, and these guys, right? They talking about the white boys. Now, once the racial lines have, the things have changed, then they started saying players are bigger, faster, stronger, and better. But it has not changed anything with the numbers.
One thing I have to agree with you on that.
It's true.
Is when you see, like, okay, when the old heads, right? Like we just had a beef going back and forth the other day, right? And we had the young guys, like you say, calling guys plumbers, right? Well, when they put the pictures up of the plumbers, like you say, they these white guys, they like, man, Mike was guarded by Craig Elo. He was guarded by Hornacek, stuff like that. So I found one the other day with Bron. It was like Bron.
Yeah, I said.
And I'm like, well, them guys, I said, them guys was plumbers. They had math teachers. I call them math teachers.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So you're right. I mean, I never thought about that. It is
it's racial lines, and people not even realizing that they being racial and saying this stuff, but that's exactly what it is. And then we took it a step further. Me and him, we listened to Larry Bird. He said, man, I took it personal when they put a white boy.
Yeah, I heard that story.
Larry Bird said, I took it personal when they put a white player and say, God, me. Think about that, how crazy and diabolical he was. Yeah. But he going out there.
But that was how the white players was looked upon.
Man, look, that wasn't who Larry Bird.
They probably still looked upon when it comes to the sport of basketball.
I heard this. Have you ever heard this? Larry Bird was one of the only white people that was gonna be able to walk through the projects unharmed.
But you know what somebody told me, Nick?
And I believe that.
Older guy I talked to.
If you seen Larry Bird right now, would you be in awe? Because I would.
Yeah. Even right now.
Yeah. Would you look? You'll look at like Jesus, wouldn't you?
Yeah, even right now.
Yeah.
But see, you know what? Person told me one of the reasons that they pushed the narrative so hard on Steph Curry as a shooter and everything like that, is because that's something that they can do. That's something that
White people
an
can do.
average, even whether white people or an average person can become a great shooter.
Right.
Not everybody can fly through the sky
Like Jordan and Kobe.
like Kobe and Jordan and all these guys. But anybody, little scrawny, somebody can become a great shooter. So that's why they want to push the narrative of great shooting and all that stuff so much.
I
agree.
I can see that.
I agree. But check the numbers. Y'all don't listen to us. The NBA players, 5% white now. Back the 80s and 90s, they were 30%. So the plumbers and electricians that these people are referring to were white people. Okay? And they're saying that the game is better now. The game is fundamentally fucked up.
Oh, I agree with that.
We've seen a 3-on-1 play. So
Tell
how are they
us
telling
about
us?
this. Did I show you that one? The 4-on-1 fast break?
Fast break where they ran to
Oh,
the three-point line.
When everybody ran to the 3-point line.
So they're telling us that the game is better.
That was Denver.
Yeah.
So
Jamal Murray, an all-star.
Yeah.
An all-star player, crunch time of a game, runs to the 3-point line.
And so this is what we seen. And I had a discussion with my guy Javin. Shout out to the U of U. We bringing the business. We doing both, right? So I had a conversation with Javin, and when I talked to Javin, I said, Javin, what I'm seeing is that they're not the trainers are training players on moves. They're not training them on the fundamentals of the game.
First of all, they don't practice.
Right. So, but look. So this is the point I'm making. When you're putting your child with the trainer, he's teaching the child how to do moves, right? One-on-one moves, how to beat your player, things like that, which is cool. But are you teaching him how to set screens? Are you teaching him how to box out? So these are the fundamentals, what we learned growing up, how to play basketball. And I'm not a good basketball player, right? But do I know the fundamentals of the game?
I give you one better. You're making a good point. I put my son in basketball at 4 years old, right?
And they was teaching him moves.
They teaching him, you know how to dribble with both hands. You know how to put the ball between his legs.
Right.
You know how to do all that shit, right? I put him in his first little AAU team, Mac Urban Fire. Dude, he don't know about set screens, slip screens. He don't know nothing about it.
Through him.
Dude, he been in basketball since 4 years old. Now he can dribble his ass off.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Layups, all that shit. But when they put him out there in a basketball situation, it was like a fucking deer in headlights.
Yeah.
Because he knew fucking nothing
About the fundamentals.
about the fundamentals of the game.
Yeah.
But if you go back to what I just said about the 4-on-1 fast break, right? You remember all us that played grammar school basketball, park there. One of the main things they taught us was the 3-man weave or layup drills and stuff like that. So, like, how don't you know to run to the rim or how to run a break, how to run a fast break?
Everything is, you know, what they call analytics. Everything.
And that's something that we kind of, because we've done nothing but pull the analytics to prove our points here, right? And so we got to kind of have some sensitivity for the eye test guys. You understand? Eye test guys. But anyhow, the eye test guys are going to come to us and tell us that we're not doing anything but backing things with numbers and analytics. Well, I got to tell you this. I had to slap myself and hit myself because I had to say that there was no such thing as the eye test, which isn't true. I was able to scout Jimmy Butler based off the eye test. I was able to scout a lot of players and say who was going to be good based off the eye test. When I seen Penny, it was off eye test. We didn't have analytics back then. We just knew them niggas was good.
You know what? You got some people that get mad at you for using the numbers. You got some people that get mad at you for using the accolades. You got some people that get mad at you for using
just
whatever.
got haters.
You have to package
Yeah,
all.
all
You
that together.
have to package all of it together.
So, but how much is how much of the curve is the eye test, and how much is it actually what you do and what you produce? Because what I said was, and what we came up with, and this is what we said, is that we said that that when you're judging a football player, you're judging them just solely based off his numbers. When you judge baseball players, get solely judged based off their numbers, right?
Production.
Production. Yeah, production. How you produce. But when it comes to basketball, these guys fall in love with the way the guys shoot, the way they play the game. They love that. So, right, and then I compare it again back to hip hop. They like the nigga flow. You see what I'm saying? They like the way the nigga rap. They don't care about Master P numbers. They don't care about Baby numbers. Baby can't rap worth shit. But Baby is Baby.
See, but this is my thing.
You see what I'm saying?
This is my thing, though. This is why, and I told y'all, and I think I've had this conversation with both y'all on separate occasions, obviously. When you coming up with your list of the greatest, or when you coming up, and I'm right now I'm speaking strictly basketball.
He says accolades.
When you come up with your list of the greatest, right? The only way that you make it fair, and if we make it fair, it's gonna be some spaces, and people gonna be in places that we're not gonna like, and it's gonna hurt your feelings, right? Mm-hmm. And I'm gonna give you a prime example of one. Like, okay, if we doing this list, and each one of us got a paper. On this list, we have to have boxes that have to be checked. You got to have numbers. You're going to have to have accolades. You're going to have to have ad tests. You're going to have durability. You're going to have to whatever. So one of them that I'm not going to like is LeBron is going to be ranked in front of Kobe. Because if you look at everything that checked the box, LeBron got more MVPs. His numbers more. He got more, you know what I'm saying? More.
But you rank him in front of Kobe. I don't.
But you have to, keep it from being opinion based.
But he said if you go off the list.
Man. Yeah, to keep it from being opinion based.
What he just said.
You have to, we have to sit down.
That's something he made up in this.
No, I'm just saying, based off of that.
I get it, but this
because other than that, it's gonna be opinion. You have to add, you have to have accolades, you have to add numbers, you have to add this stuff, or else it's gonna be strictly opinion, emotion, and preference.
Yeah.
Only way you can fairly assess.
So who eyes are telling the truth? You see what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So and then
that's only a point of it though. Eye test is only a point of it.
Right. And then it go back to the Biggie Tupac debate. Cause Biggie only got 2 albums. You see what I'm saying? But he 80% of them East Coast rappers favorite.
But Biggie gotta come. That's another story. We gonna bring a hip hop session up here. Biggie gotta come out of that top 5.
Man, they got him there.
He gotta come out of there.
He in my top 5.
He was in mine too, and that's a testament of how cold he was that he's in there with 2 albums. But he gotta come out, bro. Like your Wayne,
that's tough.
Yeah, your Wayne, and I'm not even a Wayne guy, but your Waynes and
like
people
I don't take Larry Bird.
Out.
I don't take Larry Bird out of my top 5. I won't put LeBron there until his career's over.
LeBron is in there, bro.
Not
He's
right
in
now.
there. Like you gotta
I've always said I can't put nobody in the top anything till their career over.
To their career over. And
now,
so,
I've said that in the first episode. I can't take no.
But you know I've been adamant on
and
that.
I'm gonna tell y'all why.
I said let him finish.
And I'm gonna tell y'all why I don't agree with that, right? And Nick, we talked about this recently on the show with the Johnsons was here when I ran rave about KD, right? And I asked people, is KD in your top 10? People, oh man, no, he got to do a little more. He got to do this. He got to do that. So in year 15, year 16, he still ain't done enough. He ain't gonna make it.
He ain't.
I mean, he ain't.
Because everybody else that's in your top 10 was in there by year 10 and 12.
Yeah. I agree with that.
You know what I'm saying? You're not gonna make it.
I'm not saying LeBron ain't there. I'm saying I'm not putting him there.
I said top 5. I got him top 10. I said I need that 5.
He's more than top 10, bro.
Okay, listen. The 5 is Mount Rushmore, right? And Rushmore is only 4.
Actually, yeah,
right.
I'm saying Rushmore is
so
only 4.
do you get how exclusive that is? So for you to have the 4,
he in there.
My 4 is Jordan, Magic, Kareem,
and LeBron.
Kobe. LeBron ain't got Kobe yet to me, and he ain't got Larry Bird yet to me, and it's a struggle with Shaq and Duncan. So but if people want to toss the players outside of the Mount Rushmore, I get it, right? But I'm just talking about overall, and something else that goes into that 4 players is kill. The kill switch.
Right? It's a whole list.
The kill
It's a whole
switch.
list. But when you go down that list, LeBron is gonna check a lot of boxes more than a lot of these other guys that we love, bro. Kobe is behind Michael Jordan. Kobe is my second favorite player of all time,
We ain't
bro.
talking favorites.
No, but I'm saying, so I'm being honest when I say that LeBron is gonna end up in front of him, G. LeBron is gonna on that list. LeBron is gonna go in front of Kobe on that list, bro.
He is to a lot of people, and I'm not.
What you say?
I'm not putting him on no list until his career over with.
So Steph got to come off the list.
I'm not putting.
I pushed Steph up. He got pushed.
I'm saying everybody. Well, you can't just single out LeBron and don't put him on the list. Everybody, you got to take everybody off.
That's how I feel.
Nah, they got to finish their career.
Yeah, they got to finish their career.
Because Russ could still go up to, say Russ win, right? Say Russ win him in the ring. Right now, I seen one list that had him at 33. I had Russ top 25, right? If Russ wins, in my opinion, Russ moves into the top 20 to 15 players, right? And that's just based off of where he's going to finish on that scoring list.
Yeah,
where he's going to finish on that
that.
assist. Yes, he is. He's going to finish.
Y'all the Russ fans, so I don't know.
I think I don't think he's gonna finish that. See, and that's what I'm saying. I'm not being biased. And Russ is my third favorite player, but he's not gonna be that high, bro. That's what I'm saying. You gotta be honest when you check these lists, bro.
Quick question: where does Russ rank on the assist list? Right now, he's 11th. Russ ranks on the points list. Him and Durant and Harden are all together. And they in the top 20 on the scoring list. And meaning those 3 guys got at least 4 years left to where they're going to move up to the top 15 and top 10 on the scoring list.
Possibly.
All 3.
Possibly.
Right? Okay. Russ is also going to show up on okay, we know he's going to show up on the turnover list. So all I said was if he win one. So right now I seen the list. I don't agree with the list. The list had him as like 33 or 34 best players.
Until he wins, stuff like that is accurate though.
You're gonna find it hard. You're gonna find it hard to name 30-some players better than Russell Westbrook.
Yes, but when you factor in winning, when you factor in everything, that
his winning percentage.
You know what I'm saying?
What tell me what winning is. That's what I need to know.
What I'm saying is, Chip, again, when you checking this list, bro, like for instance, Chris Paul, right? I'm not a big Chris Paul guy. But when it's all said and done, or when you checking these lists and you look at the fact that Chris Paul is a 9-time all defensive team. 9-time all, you know what I'm saying?
They talking about Cone. Remember what?
No, but you know what I'm saying? When you factor in all of that type of stuff.
Y'all remember Patrick Beverly called him Cone?
That stuff matters. But somebody, you know what I'm saying, he gonna have a hard time playing with people. Like for instance, Russ numbers and Russ MVP is helping him.
Okay, everybody do.
But the fact that because Derrick Rose got an MVP, but he ain't got no numbers.
Okay, what
he
about
ain't got no numbers.
What about Steve Nash? So
but that's what's gonna keep Steve Nash. That's what's gonna keep Steve Nash on the list. Them 2 MVPs, bro.
Let me look.
You have to That's what I'm saying. You have to factor that type of stuff in, bro.
Let me look up something with Steve Nash.
You know what I'm saying? Like you
outside
accolades and stats matter, bro.
Outside
championships matter.
They do.
Everything matters except turnovers.
You know what I'm saying?
I'm telling you, them motherfuckers gonna kill you back to turnovers.
That stuff matters.
Okay, Steve Nash, 2-time most valuable player. Now get this. 8-time NBA All-Star. 3-time All-NBA first team. 2-time All-NBA second team. 2-time All-NBA third team.
Right, so when you going over
5-time NBA assist leader. So, and I guarantee this, when I pull his numbers, I'm going to tell you what they did with Steve Nash. They made him a popularity player.
Man, Steve Nash Steve Nash.
Look at this.
Steve Nash wasn't the player that they made him out to be.
Exactly, because it was popularity.
Yeah, Steve Nash
So
won
look at this.
MVP. He's averaging 16
Steve
and
Nash
18 points.
Steve Nash got Chris Paul numbers.
Yeah.
These are these not Chris Paul numbers?
Yeah. And again, I don't really rock with Chris Paul.
14-8.
Chris Paul was better than Steve Nash.
Woo! Hey, that go on that list.
Chris Paul was better than Steve
That
Nash.
go on that list.
Right.
That go on the
Well,
flash.
look, you know what? We're gonna wrap it on up in here, y'all. But we're gonna be back. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna
And when we wrap it up though, we got one last thing for y'all. We're gonna do flashcards.
Give us 4 of them.
We got this from Drink Champ.
Give us 4 of them.
We just gonna go through them. We're gonna go through them. We're gonna do the 10. We ain't gonna reach off and get everybody's opinion. We just gonna say
A quick answer. Who you got? Come on.
Okay. Reggie Miller and Mitch Richmond.
Reggie.
Okay. Rod Strickland and Tim Hardaway.
Tim Hardaway.
I'm taking Rod.
Tim Hardaway. Going back to what I said, Tim Hardaway got the accolades. Keep going.
Okay. Scottie Pippen and Dominique Wilkins.
That's tough.
Woo.
I'm not gonna answer.
Give me Scottie. Well, take you a shot.
I'm going Pip.
We're gonna take the Drink Champ.
I'm not gonna answer.
I'm going Pippen. Okay, Drosselin, Petrovic, or Brandon Roy.
Brandon Roy.
I'm going. Nah, fuck that. I'm
Roy.
a Petrovic fan.
Brandon Roy was more special.
Okay.
We'll talk about that another time. He was more special.
Joel Embiid or Patrick Ewing.
Patrick Ewing.
I hate that. Go ahead.
I'm gonna go Pat.
Okay, Mark Price or Mike Bibby.
Mark Price.
Definitely Mark Price.
I don't know. Okay, Karl Malone or Greek Freak.
Damn, that's tough.
That's tough.
That's tough.
Because people don't realize how good Karl Malone was.
Yeah.
And he did it for 18 years without getting hurt and everything like that. So right now, but Greek did will himself to a chip, didn't he? But you know what?
Go ahead. What you got?
I'm gonna go Freak.
I'm gonna go Freak.
I'm gonna go against the grain. I'm gonna go Karl Malone.
No, Carl.
Okay. Big Dog or Glenn Rice.
I'm gonna go Glenn.
Ooh, give me Big Dog. Give me Big Dog.
Glenn Rice shoot that thing though. Fuck it. I'm gonna go Rice.
Okay. Steve Nash or Chris Paul.
I'm going Chris Paul.
I'm going Chris Paul.
Ooh, give me Nash. Okay. Penny Hardaway or Grant Hill.
Damn. Fuck. Now that's tough. You know what? It ain't tough. I'm going Grant Hill.
I'm going Penny.
Ooh, I ain't answer.
I'm going Grant Hill on that.
And Penny, one of my favorites.
I'm gonna go Penny, and I'm gonna tell you why real quick. Penny, I think Penny was more of a winner, so to speak. Like I think, cause look,
he right. They went to the finals.
Yeah, and I'm gonna tell
Grant
you,
ain't carried them nowhere.
Grant had a busted ass.
No, he didn't.
Who had one in Detroit?
Lindsey Hunter, Allen Houston.
Lindsey Hunter.
Okay,
You made Lindsey Hunter as your first person.
Allen Houston.
I mean, I give you Allen Houston.
Okay, that whole team, I got to go back. But so if Allen Houston went to the finals in '99, think about this. Grant, you had a decent teammate.
You had a decent teammate. That's one motherfucker.
I gotta go. I agree that Grant didn't have nobody. But look, let me tell you this real quick before we close out.
Go ahead.
A lot of people got a narrative that Penny used to kill the Bulls and kill Pippen them and all that.
Mm-hmm.
Man, we put that shit to rest the other day, man. I challenge y'all to do your homework. Go look and see how many games Grant Hill actually won against the Bulls. And his average was only like 26 and 6 or something.
No,
like
it was
that.
20 points.
I'm
Yeah.
saying 20,
And
like
then
6
Scotty
rebounds.
now, it was 20 points. I looked it up.
I know,
but
but it
he
was
said 26 and 6.
Right. So him
Not
and Scotty had the same stats.
Right. So if people think that Grant Hill killed the Bulls and they couldn't do nothing with him and all that, that's a false narrative.
Right.
Hey, remember, man, we on Facebook bringing the business. We bringing the business on Instagram. We bringing the business on TikTok. We
Okay.
bringing the business on Spotify. We bringing the business on all platforms that you can find your podcast, man. So check us out, man. We appreciate y'all chiming in. Check the YouTube channel out. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Share the YouTube channel, man. Nick?
Yeah, I mean, I appreciate my guy Chip coming, man, for real, for sure,
I
man. It's
appreciate
a
it.
great show, man. Great show, great knowledge, man. I learned a lot from my guy, for sure. So, I mean, great show. He got to come back. He has to come back, bro. But so I wish we could stay longer.
Okay, y'all right. Green Hill team suck.
But
But look.
all right, y'all, bringing the business
bring the
back.
All right, peace.